Hello, my name is Tom Vasallo with MRW Financial Brokerage. I appreciate everyone taking the time to participate in this webinar called Income Savvy. What we have also on the line Clay Crum and Nicole Percy, both from AIG. They'll be going through the presentation, but let me tell you what really interested me in this when they approached me about this. In this time of social distancing, we're having to change the way we work sometimes. And this is a client-approved product generic presentation on the income story that indexed annuities and other annuities can provide. And one of the things at MRW that we're helping our advisors with is, we understand, I'm used to selling on a yellow legal pad and taking out the application and filling it out. So, if you're not used to selling virtually, if you're not used to putting on webinars, we'll be happy to host the webinar for you. We can even do the presentation if you want. You just do the introduction. We can do it jointly, however you want. And if you have clients that are reluctant to meet face-to-face right now because of the social distancing requirements, we can help you set up those virtual meetings. I can help participate in those with you as your product specialist if you'd like. No split in commissions, no costs. And to be honest, if you're participating in this webinar right now and you can hear us speaking, you have everything you need as far as equipment and all the technical know-how that you need to host a webinar. This Income Savvy presentation is a great way to reach out to your clients and new prospects and discuss this story. And with that, Nicole and Clay, if you'd like to take over.
All right. Thank you so much, Tom. And I'll just start off by, introducing myself and Clay here real quick. Nicole Percy, the RVP for our Central IMO Annuity Territory. And on the line, I've got Clay Crum as well, who is our Regional Director. And Clay and I, he and I tag team on running the territory. So, we're kind of in the same boat that you guys are. Tom mentioned this time of social distancing and how difficult it is. We can't get in front of customers. And we definitely understand that because Clay and I are used to traveling, all over the U.S., being in a different state every week and being able to sit down one-on-one with our partners. And, we haven't been able to do that. So I know that you guys are in the same situation. And that really makes this Income Savvy piece that we're going to go over incredibly valuable. Tom mentioned the fact that this is a product agnostic piece. So the great thing about this is it gives you something that you can go out to your clients with. You can get in front of them. It's an educational piece. It doesn't talk product. Now, it's very easy to tie the product conversation in, if appropriate, but it doesn't talk product specifically. It gives you a way to go out there, educate the customer, make sure that you're continuing that relationship. The feedback we get is, hey, we still want our financial advisors to stay in contact with us. We still want to continue that relationship. Maybe right now we're not ready to make a move. We're not ready to buy anything because of all this uncertainty. And we want to hold our money close to the vest right now, but we still want to know our financial advisor's there, and we still want to know that they can answer questions and provide guidance. And this gives you a great piece to go out, get in front of those clients, talk to them, show them that you are still there and you're still providing guidance without necessarily talking product to them. And the great thing is, 3, 4, 6, 9 months down the road, once things begin to level out a little bit, and once we hit whatever the new normal is going to look like, and they become a little more comfortable with their financial situation, then at that point, you've already planted the seed. By going over this presentation, you've planted the seed for them where they can pick that phone up and call you and say, hey, back a couple of months ago, we went over a piece that talked about longevity, or that talked about the fact that we've got to self-fund for retirement. And you said there were options available to help me with that. Well, let's talk about those now. I'm ready. It's a piece that, as we go through this, you'll really see it's things we talk to our customers about already. Every day we're talking to our customers about the things that are in this book, but what this does is it actually provides meat around those things that you're telling them. Hey, Mr. Customer, living to the age of 95, that's very, very possible nowadays, which means a 30-year retirement's no longer a myth. And hey, with longevity, there's a good chance, in fact, close to a 50% chance, that if you're married, either you or your spouse, one of the two of you is going to live to age 95 or longer. So all these things we're already talking to them about. This provides the meat behind it, because as you'll see, it's various pieces from multiple different institutions that have gone out and have done the surveys and compiled the material. So for you as an advisor, it really provides credibility. It's backing up what you've been telling them all along. And as we look at this piece today, this piece is 26 pages long. There's 26 individual pages in this guide. I am not suggesting that you go sit down and go through 26 pages with your client. That would be analysis paralysis. Each one of these pages, they're standalone pieces. They're standalone pieces that are all compiled in one place. So you can say, okay, next week I'm meeting with Jim. And I know Jim's hot buttons, longevity. His wife's family, they live well into their 90s. He wants to make sure that she has enough money. Then you can go in here and select one or two pages, maybe three, that speak to longevity risk. And you can hone in on those couple of pages, and you use those pages to drive the conversation with Jim. So each one of these pages are standalone, so you can pick and choose what page you want to focus on with that client to make sure you're driving that conversation, in the direction it needs to go for their particular situation and their particular need. We're not going to cover all 26 of these today. We're going to hit, probably 8 or so. We just want to point out some of the main ones that we see get used very, very often and that we get a lot of positive feedback on. But I would definitely encourage you to sit down and go through all of the pages, because there might be a page or two that we skip over today in the interest of time that might be really, really valuable to you in your practice. But the nice thing is you can take this piece and very quickly incorporate it into your practice to help you stay in front of your customers and to provide some new tidbits of information. It's also a very visual piece. As we look at this, a lot of colors, it's very visual. We find that as human beings, we're all visual learners. So this being as visual as it is really helps us to retain this information as well. Anything you would like to add, Clay, before we dive in and look at a couple of these pages?
No, I think you covered everything. This is a great piece to pivot into the annuity conversation, and you can definitely position different products just using one page, and that's where we've seen the most success with it.
And just one thing I'd like to reinforce. One of my biggest fears in this whole COVID thing is, we here at MRW, we had some great month, or the last 60 days have been great for us while everyone was finishing up their business. My biggest fear, though, is that because of this COVID, people are finishing up their business, but they aren't continuing the prospect. So as we start to release, we know in this business, it's 6 to 8 weeks to ramp up from the time you first start to talk to someone to where you're generating revenue. And that's my biggest fear, is that we aren't continuing to fill that prospecting pipeline. And that's what this program's all about.
Yep, thanks, Tom. Okay, well, let's go in and just take a look. We've also got a couple of supporting pieces that go along with this program that I do want to show you guys as well. But as we go in and look, this is the table of contents. I mentioned there were 26 different elements to this. We're not going to cover all of them. I do like this particular piece. This particular piece here speaks to the fact that we now have to self-fund our retirement. The days of the pension plan and our employers providing, those free retirement dollars to us, those days are gone. Very rarely do you run across a pension plan in today's world. So we've got to start thinking along the lines of self-funding for retirement. Our 401ks, our IRAs, our Roths. We really need to start driving the thought process to that. And this is just a great piece to help show that. If you want to springboard into a product conversation or even drive the conversation towards annuities in general, this is also a nice piece to do that. Because, what was the great thing about a pension plan? It was what we call mailbox money. Every month or every 2 weeks, however I get it set up, I get that paycheck in the mail, like clockwork, never fails. I can count on it. It's dependable. What else in today's environment can I put my money into that's going to provide me that same kind of stability? It's an annuity product. I can reposition a portion of my funds into an annuity product and get that same stability that my grandfather or my great-grandfather got out of their pension plan. A pension plan, which is something that I don't have the luxury of having, but I can use an annuity to get that same kind of feeling and same kind of stability. So you'll see as we go through these pages, it's very easy to drive the conversation towards annuity products. And it's very easy if you want to pivot directly into a true product conversation. This particular one here talks about longevity, but there's another page that I like a little bit better that speaks to longevity. So I'm going to just skip over this one and talk about the other longevity page. This particular page, for those of you that have wealthier clients, this particular page is going to be a really good one to incorporate into your practice. And Clay, I know you really like this particular page, so I'll pass this off to you and let you speak to this piece if you don't mind.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. And I mean, for those of you who don't know already, longevity risk is the number one risk in retirement. It is the possibility of outliving your money is the number one risk in retirement. And like Nicole said, there's a huge possibility of having a 30-year income gap that we need to be filling, that you need to offer your clients a solution to fill that retirement income gap, a solution that they can outlive. And especially with the wealthier population. As you can see here, that the life expectancy only goes up the more money that they have. That being that they have access to the best doctors in their area. They have access to the nicest health clubs where they can go in and get that personal training session and every single morning, and then afterwards go to their local Whole Foods. And so that turns into a longer life, which then is a bigger income gap that needs to be filled. And this is a great positioning piece to talk when you're talking with your wealthy clients, saying, hey, since you're in this wealthier population, there's a good chance you're going to live longer than the average person. So that means that there's a bigger income gap that needs to be filled. Let's set aside a portion of your wealth that can cover those discretionary expenses so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And that you can even go and invest more aggressively since you have that protected lifetime income stream set aside. So this is just a great piece to address longevity risk with your wealthier client. Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks, Clay. And this is the longevity piece that I was speaking to that I really like. This particular one shows the probability if you are a married couple living to the age of 95. So if you are currently a 65-year-old, if you are a healthy American, which could be one of those folks in the category that Clay just talked about, that wealthier end of the population who has access to those organic foods and the health clubs and going and getting massages, every week and acupuncture and all the things that that really help to lower their stress level, which helps to improve their health. For those particular folks that are the healthy Americans, there's a 43% chance that at least one of that couple is going to live to the age of 95. 43%. I mean, that's huge. That's almost a 50% chance that one of the two is going to live to age 95. That's very eye-opening. And with this particular piece, you can very easily springboard into the joint income conversation and the fact that you need to be providing for income for both parties, not just one. If you're an average American, there's still a 20% chance that at least one of you is going to live to be age 95. So to me, those are pretty astonishing numbers, and they're real eye-openers to a lot of our clients. This particular page talks about the rising healthcare costs. We all know this. Our clients know this. They feel the pain of this anytime they have a health event. The one thing about this particular page that I like is for example, for many of our products, indexed annuity products included, we have liquidity features on those products. An extended care rider feature, a terminal illness feature, but then we also have a 2 of 6 ADL feature. And Clay kind of calls those our hidden gems in our products, and they go along really well with this particular page because we know healthcare costs continue to skyrocket and they continue to be a pain point for all of us. Wouldn't it be great if you had money in a product that had a feature like a 2 of 6 ADL? So, for example, if I'm unable to perform 2 of 6 activities of daily living, I can access my contract value without any surrender charges. And the nice thing about that 2 of 6 ADL is I'm unable to perform 2 of 6 for any reason, and I don't have to be confined. A lot of these features out there, you have to be confined to a facility in order to use the feature. For this particular 2 of 6 ADL I'm referring to, you don't have to be confined. You just have to be unable to perform 2 of 6 ADLs. So, a very good conversation to have with your clients and tie that in when you're talking about the healthcare costs. These next few slides, I'm going to just skip through. They're very interesting as far as they do talk about the different categories of retirees. The Globetrotters, more of the homebodies that stay at home and don't do a whole lot. Talks about how they spend their money. But I want to stop for a minute here on this particular one. This one shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. This particular one talks about how folks are a lot less comfortable accepting a loss after retirement. Again, that's not news to us. We all know that. And as you go in and look at it, 61% of folks are much less comfortable with a loss in their portfolio after retirement. Well, of course they are, because I've spent all these years accumulating my wealth while I was working. Once I enter that retirement phase, now I've switched to the distribution phase. Now I've got to live off of that money. So I am much less comfortable with taking big risks with my money because I know this has got to last me. It's got to last me for 25, 30, 35 years. So I've got to take care of that money. This is a great lead-in piece to an annuity conversation. What products are out there in the market that can still give you upside potential, but also protect you from any downside risk where you're not losing money due to market performance? That's an annuity product. And also, we've got annuity products out there that in addition to protecting your principal from downturns in the market, they can also provide you guaranteed income for life. Again, that's not impacted by market performance. So this page is a nice lead-in to get that annuity conversation going. The next few pages that we're going to talk about, you'll see we've got this kind of fuchsia color up here because you'll notice these different sections are in different colors. One of them's in green. The fuchsia section This is what we call really the overcoming objection section, because a lot of the pages in here are really going to speak to objections that we hear every day. We hear from our clients. So as we go in and we look at this, I'm going to pass this particular page off to Clay. I know this one is near and dear to his heart. So Clay, I'll let you speak to this page, please.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. And like she said, this is what I like to call the overcoming objections section. So as financial advisors, there's going to be, or in any sales conversation, there's going to be objections that you might have to overcome. And so a big one that we overcome is that, or have to overcome, is talking about managed money when positioning income riders or income benefits. Is, oh, my client, or we want to head towards maybe a bond laddering strategy or dividends paying out from the stock portfolio. But like Nicole said in the previous slide, once people hit retirement, they are not looking for any type of risk. They're much less comfortable with the risk of loss in their portfolio. So this is a perfect time to talk about an annuity product that can generate a guaranteed income stream. For one, it's going to be much cheaper than both of these strategies. We have the ability to offer 5%, upwards to 5.5% for life at 65. If we're talking about 5% generating $1,000, that's only going to cost your client $20,000. So an annuity product is much cheaper, it's protected, and it's going to give your clients a much better peace of mind knowing that they have that protected lifetime income stream coming every single month. Over these two strategies that, especially in this day and age, and in the market that we're living in, is something that your retired clients don't want to be in, because these have the ability to cost your client much more money to generate that $1,000. It also has the ability to run out. So this is to position an annuity product and show this piece right here should help that solidify that sale when talking about guaranteed income. So thank you, Nicole.
Thanks, Clay. This is another piece that we really like to focus on, another page. We find this comes in handy in a lot of the conversations. This particular piece speaks to the 4% withdrawal rule and the fact that now 3% is the new 4%. The fact that a 4% is really no longer a sustainable withdrawal rate for most folks to get them through a 30-year retirement. And here it shows 3%, but in newer studies, we've actually seen it down closer to 2.5% in studies that have come out over the last few months. So with that, this is a great piece, again, to enter into an annuity conversation, because frankly, if I'm taking that 4% out and now I figure out, oh, you know what, that's not sustainable, I've got to drop that down to 3%. Well, that's a 25% reduction in income. How many of our clients can take a 25% reduction in their income that they're receiving? Not a lot of them. Most of them can't. And for a lot of them, a 25% reduction means that they may not even be able to cover their essential expenses. But that's what going from a 4% to a 3% can do. And then you also have to think about their portfolio and what the value of that is. Their portfolio is probably not the same value that it was if we were to look back 9 months ago, 6 months ago, pre-COVID-19. It's probably worth less at this particular point. So if I need $30,000 and that's what I have to have, well, if I'm taking $30,000 out and my portfolio is now worth less, so I'm having to liquidate more of it to get that same $30,000, then I'm essentially taking out more than that 3%. So what can we do about it? This is where you can talk and pivot to the annuity conversation about the fact that we've got annuity products out there, that they protect you from that market downturn. You can get income riders on them. And oh, by the way, in some of those products, for example, one of our indexed annuity products, you can get a 5% withdrawal rate at the age of 65. So you can go in and not only do you not have to drop from 4% to 3%, you could actually go from a 4% withdrawal to a 5% withdrawal and give yourself a raise. And oh, by the way, that's 5% guaranteed for life, no matter how the market performs. So we've got to make sure that our clients are thinking about that 30-year retirement and making sure those funds are going to last. And we all know what ties into that is sequence of returns. In these next couple of pages, there's three pages that speak to sequence of returns. And we know how important sequence of returns are. We know that sequence of returns can vastly impact how long that money lasts. And this shows examples to help your clients understand how that sequence of return truly does impact the length of time that money is going to last, because we all know if they go in and they start their retirement withdrawals in a down year when the market's down, what does that generally do to their portfolio? Their portfolio's down, they're liquidating more, therefore that money is not going to last as long. Versus if they go in and they start liquidating to take those withdrawals in an up year when the market's up, then that money is going to last longer. So these few pages, if you have those clients that you really want to hone in on those sequence of returns, these few pages give them examples to help explain, the true impact of that. This page here, really like this page. This page talks about the fact that if you have a 60-40 stock bond mix, which most of us do, then again, going back to that 4% rule, if you're taking 4% out a year, that's an 80% chance that money is going to last you for a 30-year retirement. Well, that's a 20% chance that it's not. So that's a 20% failure rate that it's going to last you through a 30-year retirement. Most folks are not going to feel good about that. That's like asking me, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you free airfare. I'm going to pay for you a vacation. You and your family hop on a plane, fly to Hawaii. But oh yeah, there's a 20% chance that you're not actually going to make it, that plane's not going to make it to Hawaii. Well, I'm not going to say yes to that. I'm going to say, no thanks. That's too big of a risk for me to take. And essentially, that's how we have to think about this. If they're taking that 4% out, there's a 20% chance that they're not going to make it through their retirement goal. If they back down to a 3%, then there's a 96% chance that they're going to make it. So that 1% really does have a big impact in how long those funds are going to last. And here in this piece, this just really walks them through annuities in general and the different types of annuities. So you can explain to them a little bit about variable, index, fixed, immediate, deferred, without having to get into a true product conversation. And a couple of the supporting pieces we've got that go along with this particular guide, we have a few fillable forms and fillable brochures that you can also send to your client and you can use as you're going through these pieces. Because again, it's a virtual world right now. We can't sit down one-on-one with our clients. And if we are using this with new clients and we're prospecting, okay, well, I might need to do a little bit of fact finding. This is a great piece. This is the consumer guide that goes along with that flip book and those pages that we just talked about. And with this particular guide, this has been done in a way where you can actually email this to your client and it's fillable. So as you're going through those 1 or 2 pages out of the flip book that you want to focus on with the client, you email them the flip book and say, hey, turn to page 8. Let's talk about this. Now flip to page 12. Okay, great. Now let's go to the consumer brochure and you can look through this and you'll see it's essentially got some of the elements of the flip book in it, but it's fillable. So you can go through with the client and you can fill this out. And obviously it has pages like, okay, you protect your home, you protect your life, you protect your car, Is your 401k and your IRA, are those insured? Well, no, those are not insured. How can I insure those? Well, let's talk about repositioning a portion into an annuity where it is protected from market downturn. So as you go through this, they can fill this out, save it, and then frankly, they can send it back to you. It goes through the retirement needs pyramid. It goes through figuring out what your income needs are. This is essentially a little basic fact finder, and they can fill this out from their end and save it and email it back to you. This also goes through and talks about Social Security. Should you start early? Should you wait? What is your actual guaranteed income? Based off of Social Security, which for, the younger ones of us that are a few years away from retirement, I don't know what Social Security is going to look like when I get around to retiring. Pension plan, most people don't have pension plans now. And then you can go through and you can calculate that income gap, your essential income gap, and then also those overall income gap, taking into account not just my essential expenses, but, my play money. So you can go in and calculate that. And then this really leads to the conversation of repositioning a portion of the assets into a product like an annuity that can provide you that protection of principal and that guaranteed income stream for life. If you don't want to go through this entire guide and you just want a shorter, quicker version, then we just have this quick little 2-pager, front and a back, and you can fill in here to really go in and look at how much you need to fill in for those discretionary lifestyle expenses. What do I need? If I've got my essential expenses covered, what's left over for those discretionary expenses, the legacy expenses, those type things? Do I have anything left over? So this is just a short version. So just a couple of pieces that you can use. All 3 of these pieces are consumer approved. So you can email these out to your consumers. You can go over all the information in these pieces with your consumers. It is consumer approved. So hopefully you can see that this piece is very easy to incorporate into your practice, to help you stay in front of your clients, to keep building that relationship and keep that going, but in a fashion where you can do it without really talking product. You can do it in an educational capacity. Clay, anything you would like to add before we turn it back over to Tom for any closing comments in our last few minutes?
No, I think you did a great job. It's really great to add those additional resources along with the flip book, with the fillable brochure, as well as the little income calculator worksheet. So yeah, there's just very great resources to have at your fingertips without even talking about product. So awesome.
Thanks. So Tom, we've got a few minutes left. I will turn it back over to you for any closing comments or if we want to have any Q&A.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Clay. If you do have any questions, go ahead and type them in. I'll read them out to get them answered. Once again, here at MRW, I'd be happy to host a webinar, host even one-on-one client meetings with you, get you this information so we can take your clients through the process. One thing I see all the time, because where we really excel here at MRW is, hey, I've got this situation. Hey, I've got this guy conversation. And in fact, I just got a quote request in from someone during this webinar. They gave me the ages and said $250,000. There isn't much I can do with that. When you look at an annuity, you have to really have an exit strategy planned, and you want it to solve a planning purpose. I can tell someone is really following sort of this track or properly planning when instead of saying, hey, can I get a quote for $100,000? They say, hey, I'm looking to solve for an income shortage of $2,300 a month in 4 or 5 years that the client would like to start. And I think these pieces really lead you down that path where where you can start to put together a plan for a client. When you do that, then you really see how annuities shine. My parents are retired school teachers, and they're one of the few people with those old defined benefit pension plans, and they have a certain peace of mind that many retirees don't. They still lease cars. They still have a mortgage on their home. They aren't worried about monthly expenses because they have what Nicole called that mailbox money. I'll call it ACH money today, but they know that deposit's going to be in their checking account every month. They're still accumulating wealth in retirement because of that defined benefit retirement plan they had. I'm not going to retire that way. My brothers and sisters aren't going to retire that way. We're going to retire on assets. And really the only way we can have the same peace of mind that our parents have is through annuities. You know, us as advisors that offer annuities and insurance-based products are the only ones that can provide that peace of mind of guaranteed lifetime income. And it's something that we're seeing corporate America is not providing anymore. And there's a strong desire of people to, you know, at least have some of their money, at least their bare essential expenses guaranteed for life. So we do have a couple of questions here. Hold up. How can we access the fillable forms? Clay, you'll send me over a copy of this PDF. I'll go ahead and forward it out to the people that are on the webinar as soon as we finish, if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So, Bridget will go ahead and send that out to you, and I will be reaching out to everyone that was on the webinar shortly. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to give us a call. Clay, Nicole, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Tom.
Awesome.
Everyone,
Thank you, Tom.
have a great afternoon.
Okay. Bye now.